Welcome to the 2017 State of Digital Marketing and Financial Services from SilverTech. We are a digital experience company specializing in helping our clients create valuable digital experiences for their customers. Website and mobile development, digital marketing and strategy, user experience design, Salesforce development and integration, marketing automation, application development, and managed services and hosting, all united by our lead to loyal approach. Today, we'll be reviewing the results of our industry-wide survey and hearing from SilverTech's financial services specialists on what they feel will be some of the most important themes in the new year. Here's a look at the agenda. First up, about the 2017 State of Digital Marketing Report, a look at the key findings in banking, resources, challenges, and top priorities, then the technology and strategy practices of effective marketing teams. I am your host, Ian Hughes. I'm SilverTech's content marketing strategist. I also host the Lead to Loyal podcast and write for the SilverTech blog. I'm joined by our marketing coordinator, Melissa Wolfline. Welcome, Melissa.
Thanks, Ian. I'm looking forward to sharing the results of our survey. I think whether you are on a large marketing team or a small one, on a team that's facing budget or resource constraints, you'll come away with insights that will arm you for success in 2017.
SilverTech's financial services specialists. In addition to reviewing the survey findings, we'll be hearing from the following financial services specialists. Paul Cream, Vice President, General Counsel, SilverTech. Paul works with senior leadership to ensure that SilverTech is consistently pursuing strategic goals as well as providing day-to-day contract review.
We'll be joined by Jeff McPherson, Chief Digital Officer of SilverTech. His areas of expertise include e-commerce, financial institutions, and the healthcare space, with a focus on strategy, customer communications, systems and workflows, and enterprise system strategy.
We'll also hear from Samantha Maltis, our principal strategist. Samantha is a seasoned digital strategist, marketer, and project manager that has the innate ability to combine marketing and operational requirements while integrating SEO and SEM as well as UI and UX to deliver top-notch strategies for clients.
We'll also be joined by Gina McIntyre, our software engineer. Gina is a certified Kentico developer on SilverTech's Kentico team. As a process and quality advocate, she plays an integral role in quoting, planning, and architecting Kentico projects.
We'll also hear from Andrew Eddy, our engineering and UX manager. Andrew's extensive background in leading workshops and technical initiatives allows him to ensure that all of SilverTech's designs are cutting edge and pushing industry norms in order to deliver the most innovative user experience for our clients.
And finally, Derek Barca, the Senior Director of Technology at SilverTech. As a pioneer in the field, Derek helped create many of the tools marketers use today to manage websites and digital marketing campaigns, as well as bridge the gap between upper management and the IT and marketing teams.
And we won't forget our partners. We'll also be hearing from Sitecore and Thunderhead. Sitecore is the global leader in experience management software that enables context marketing. The Sitecore Experience platform manages content, supplies contextual intelligence, and automates communications at scale. It empowers marketers to deliver content in context of how customers have engaged with their brand across every channel in real time.
Thunderhead's One Engagement Hub allows you to act on customer needs at the right time, the customer's time. Creating a one-to-one interaction is critical to driving loyalty. The One Engagement Hub not only allows you to learn from each interaction, it does so in a way that is profitable and scalable. Listen, engage, and learn from every interaction.
Part 1. About the 2017 State of Digital Marketing Report.
For our second annual State of Digital Marketing Report, SilverTech surveyed nearly 200 marketing leaders, including 27 directors of marketing, 19 marketing managers, 10 chief marketing officers, and a variety of social media managers, IT directors, and digital marketing managers from 147 unique companies headquartered in 28 different states.
Marketing teams, both large, 10 or more marketers, and small, less than 10 marketers, from B2B, B2C, and B2B2C companies were surveyed. Teams responsible for all marketing efforts, both traditional and digital, primarily traditional marketing efforts, TV, print, radio, and events, and then primarily digital marketing efforts, social media, PPC, SEO, and information technology, IT, were also surveyed.
Respondents shared what marketing-related activities their teams are responsible for, as opposed to using outside partners or contractors to execute. Here, you can see that marketing teams seem to rely on partners for PPC and like to keep marketing strategy in-house.
Part 2. A look at some of the key findings in banking. In this constantly evolving digital ecosystem, if you aren't looking ahead, you're already behind. The most effective marketing teams are using customer journey strategies, personas, and technology roadmaps to plan, execute, and measure digital marketing projects and ensure that those projects support the strategic goals of their organization. Here's a brief overview of some of the other key findings from our industry-wide survey. Large marketing teams, 10 or more marketers, are 2.1 times more likely than small marketing teams, less than 10 marketers, to identify brand awareness as very important to how they are measured for effectiveness.
Large marketing teams are 1.5 times more likely to utilize personas, 1.4 times more likely to utilize a customer journey strategy, and 1.4 times more likely to utilize a technology roadmap than small marketing teams.
Marketing teams that rate their website performance as effective are 1.5 times more likely to have redesigned their website within the last year than marketing teams that rate their website performance as ineffective.
Marketing teams that rate their inbound marketing as effective are 1.5 times more likely to utilize a marketing automation platform than marketing teams that rate their inbound marketing as ineffective.
Marketing teams that rate their email marketing as effective are 1.4 times more likely to utilize a customer relationship management (CRM) tool than marketing teams that rate their email marketing as ineffective.
Effective marketing teams, both large and small, are using what we at SilverTech call the lead to loyal approach.
Part 3. What is lead to loyal?
The lead to loyal approach couples marketing technology pillars with strategic cornerstones to ensure that marketing teams can create valuable digital experiences for their leads so that they continue the journey all the way to loyal.
Let's hear from our Chief Digital Officer, Jeff McPherson, and Principal Strategist, Samantha Maltus, on what lead to loyal means, particularly for those of you in the financial services industry.
When you have valuable experiences with your customers, they become loyal. So it could be anything. So it could be for a financial services in the banking industry. It could be someone coming in and having a really good experience with one of your tellers, or it could be having an easy transaction at one of your ATMs. So that's the offline piece of it. But then online, that experience has to carry over. So they can't get frustrated with form fills. They have to be able to find the information that they need very easily, very quickly, and you need your digital property to go above and beyond. So your digital property, as most financial institutions know in this particular scenario, there's a lot of them that are all kind of coming together to form what that experience is for the user. So you could have your what is called the public-facing website, and then you could have something like your credit card.
Debit card, like
Thank
debit
you.
card, yeah.
Debit cards, and what your account logins. Those are different systems. So you have your content management platform, and then you have your login and your account
Online banking,
information.
yeah.
Thank you. So those two experiences also have to be intertwined, and they have to look the same. They have to provide the same experiences. And a lot of financial institutions haven't figured out how to do that yet. They haven't figured out how to really use their data in a way that is meaningful to the customer to be able to personalize those. And I think that's the biggest thing that comes out of lead to loyal, is that SilverTech has figured out how to branch your web properties, some of your third-party systems, your CRM systems, and your marketing automation systems, and bring them together into one massive data warehouse that can be used so that we can actually target the customer. So when you provide those targeted experiences, provide that targeted content, that's what really provides those loyal experiences. That's what goes above and beyond and provides loyalty.
The analogy that Sam gave is spot on. When you think of what traditionally happens, and 9 out of 10, we'll use banks for example, 9 out of 10 banks, they create a new website, right? And with that new website, they have high expectations of cross-promotion, obtaining new customers, building existing customers and getting those customers to basically upsell on new products and services within the bank. But how do you do that? You can do there's an aspect with content that you can do it in, and you can create compelling and fantastic content that educates the customer and lets them make the decisions. But what Lead to Loyal helps do is helps create decision making, for a bank, and what I mean by that is that if I'm a customer today and I go on that website and I log into my account, when I log into my account, you now know who I am. By knowing who I am in a Lead to Loyal methodology, the system would look into the CRM or look into that data repository and see what I have. Not necessarily look at all my confidential
specifics.
information,
Right.
but know that I have a checking account, I have a savings account, I have 2 auto loans, and maybe I have a home mortgage, right? But it might not see a retirement plan. It might not see,
Kids' savings accounts.
accounts, or something like that, right? And so as I go to the website, if in a Lead to Loyal environment, those two are somewhat connected. And as I go to the website, guess what's going to start to happen? It's going to start to pre-populate content that is going to be on what I'm missing in my life in the eyes of that bank. Basically me as a persona and what I don't have. And it's going to start giving me that. It's not going to talk to me necessarily about another mortgage.
No.
Right.
It's going to talk to me about kids' savings account. Or if it's really intelligent, it's going to know that my 60-month auto loan has 3 months left on it. In the world of consumers, right? Where 70+% of consumers, when they get to the end of that loan and they want to buy a new car because they're just going to refinance it, guess what that bank should do? Hey, Jeff, as a repeat customer, get this this great rate on an auto loan. It's almost going to entice me to want to go buy a new car.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
And then on top of that, as I've navigated, it's recording my navigation, right? It's recording what I'm looking at, what I'm reading in, and that's where the marketing automation comes into play. So now, as that bank, when I log off or I do something, maybe I get an email at the end of the day that says, hey, such and such bank, we're offering this particular promotion on these particular products. It's completing that story, that life cycle of what I'm interested in, what you already know about me, and what I've actually done and proven from a history perspective online. Now, that coupled with how we actually work today. And how we work today is we look at the websites on our desktops and our laptops, we look at tablets, we look at cell phones, right? So the real beauty is couple the life cycle journey management piece that I just spoke about with the device journey management piece. And now you've got a truly full circle kind of experience. And so what that means is if I start doing something online on my desktop,
Right.
and then I log on to the app, wouldn't it be really great if that app knew what I've already done online, from my office? Now it's really kind of, that full life cycle. And I think that's what's really exciting about where this can go and where it should go.
Part 4. Resources, challenges, and top priorities. Let's return to the report to look at what financial marketers rated as their challenges and top priorities. For the purposes of this next section, we're going to define large marketing teams as those that have 10 or more marketers, and small marketing teams as those that have fewer than 10. We felt it was helpful to make the distinction as we realized that large marketing teams are more likely to identify as effective marketing teams. More on that in a bit. Melissa?
Not surprisingly, small marketing teams more often rate budget and team resource constraints as major challenges than large marketing teams.
ADA website compliance. As we consider some of the challenges financial marketers face, let's take a quick look at a topic that should be on the minds of every financial marketer in 2017, ADA website compliance.
The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public.
The ADA gives civil rights protections to individuals with disabilities, similar to those provided to individuals on the basis of race, color, sex, national origin, age, and religion. And in 2018, it is expected that the U.S. Department of Justice will issue regulations regarding website accessibility. Here's SilverTech's General Counsel, Paul Cream, and our Engineering and UX Manager, Andrew Eddy, discussing why it is a certainty that at some point you may want to make your website ADA compliant.
any business, but especially schools, financial institutions, or any entity that is selling goods and services through their internet website or their website needs to understand that they need to be just as accessible to people who are coming through their website portal as they would to be coming up to the building itself. So in other words, people have a right to attend classes, so they have a right to attend classes online and have the same ability to attend classes as they would if they were sitting in the room.
Right.
If they're engaging in financial transactions, they need to have the same ability to engage in the financial transactions as they would if they're walking into the bank. The same with people selling goods and services. They have to have the ability to acquire those goods or those services in the same way they would if they were walking into a building.
Right.
So the way to think about it is your building needs to be accessible. It has to have wheelchair ramps. It has to have Braille on ATM machines. And it has to have all these assistive devices to help people with certain disabilities. Your website has to be just as accessible.
Similarly accessible. Yep.
If your site is not in compliance, no matter what, you risk segregating the user base that's coming to visit your website. If you look at that from kind of a business perspective, that's potentially missing out on leads and conversions.
Sure. Yeah.
But fundamentally, if it's the guidance and the guidelines that they're putting in here, and we'll get into this in a little bit. I mean, it's not just solely about users or providing access to users with disabilities. It's best practices as you're building a website, and then the actual guidelines that they enforce within these standards. Will then on top of that provide access to people that would normally have trouble visiting your website. So really it's about being inclusive in terms of delivering information to the users coming to your website.
Back to resources, challenges, and top priorities. If banks and credit unions haven't gone through a redesign in the past year or so, it is likely that it will be on the agenda before the U.S. Department of Justice ADA guidelines arrive in 2018. Here's a look at how organizations are prioritizing website redesigns.
Large marketing teams are increasing their website budgets in 2017 despite going through a website redesign in the past year, perhaps indicating an eagerness to deploy the more advanced capabilities of their CMS, such as personalization and contextual marketing. Many small marketing teams, 52%, have also redesigned their websites in the past year, but will shift their budget priorities to content creation and email marketing, perhaps indicating a resource strain to deploy advanced capabilities. Let's hear from Kevin Cahill at SilverTech CMS partner Sitecore on how often they believe organizations should redesign. Here, Kevin mentions B2B sites, but we think the same could go for B2C.
Most B2B sites don't get refreshed that often. And, most people you could probably think of it, as often as you replace your phone, every year and a half to 2 years.
Yeah.
You want to get the most current software underneath it. You want to take advantage of hardware upgrades that go along with it.
In addition to preparing for forthcoming ADA compliance, here are the top priorities of large marketing teams versus small marketing teams.
Top priorities for large marketing teams in 2017 are personalization and one-to-one messaging. Small marketing teams are prioritizing social media effectiveness.
If you consider that for a moment, it starts to make a lot of sense. Large marketing teams, with a bit more resources and budget, are able to shift their focus to taking advantage of the more advanced features of their CMS, whether they're using a Sitecore, Kentico, or Episerver. Meanwhile, resource-strapped smaller teams that may be using an open source CMS, a WordPress, Drupal, or even one offered by their online banking provider, such as a Digital Insight, may not even have access to these features. So they may be looking to social media as a way to creatively recreate the one-to-one personalization.
In our first State of Digital Marketing report, it was clear that marketing efforts could be clearly measured and their effectiveness determined. In 2017, organizations have clear expectations that their marketing teams will perform as drivers of revenue rather than cost centers.
But you can see that large marketing teams are 2.1 times more likely to identify brand awareness as very important to how they are measured. Sales growth and revenue are still very important to large teams, but they're also responsible for the metrics that are still hard to quantify. As primary end users of the core communication technologies, CMS, MA, and CRM, more on those a little later, marketing teams, both large and small, are often at the vanguard of driving digital transformation within their organizations. As defined by Brian Solis at Altimeter, digital transformation is the realignment of, or new investment in, technology and business models to more effectively engage digital customers at every touchpoint in the customer experience lifecycle.
We see again large teams outpacing smaller ones. When it comes to engaging digital customers, large marketing teams are 1.8 times more likely to utilize a marketing automation or MA platform. Large marketing teams are 1.5 times more likely to utilize personas, 1.4 times more likely to utilize a customer journey strategy, and 1.4 times more likely to utilize a technology roadmap than small marketing teams. With more resources, large marketing teams are able to plan ahead while remaining flexible enough to adjust as priorities shift.
Part 5. The technology and strategy practices of effective marketing teams. We heard from Sam and Jeff earlier, introducing our lead to loyal approach. But where does it all come together? It comes together when there's collaboration between technology and strategy, and the engineering developer side of an organization, or their agency partner, and the marketing team.
Right. SilverTech envisions a seamless customer experience that is built upon 3 essential technological platforms. Each platform fulfills a very different function that, when integrated, will provide the foundation to communicate the right messages at the right time to prospects, partners, and customers at the appropriate stages of their customer lifecycle.
Let's quickly review each platform. A content management system, CMS, is the platform that acts as a repository for all content, including images, video, and copy, that is presented to visitors through a business or organization's website. Content management systems have evolved considerably since the beginnings of the web to enable improved design, usability, and management.
And marketing automation is not just a passing trend. It's an actionable and useful tool that, when implemented and executed properly, can make measurable impacts on an organization's bottom line. There are several forms of marketing automation platforms. They may have their own differentiators, but their main purpose stays the same: provide personalized, targeted content to an online visitor through strategic workflows and to empirically measure and quantify the return on an organization's marketing investments.
A CRM system, in today's world of sales, marketing, and communications, serves a number of important functions, not least an improved customer experience. Additionally, for many organizations, data is one of the most valuable strategic assets, and CRM systems house some of the most valuable data. Let's take a closer look at one of those essential platforms, the CMS, and hear from our Senior Director of Technology, Derek Barca, on its role in achieving personalization.
People are always looking for that personalized experience. People, even if you are a mom and pop shop, maybe you don't think you're that big, maybe you don't think you're Amazon. The fact of the matter is everyone uses Amazon and they expect their experience everywhere to be Amazon. They expect that one-click process. They expect you to know what they want and kind of serve that content up to them, kind of give them the next logical product in their journey or what have you. So I guess when people start thinking about this, how do you start personalizing? It's not something easy to do. When we go about it, you start by segmenting users based upon explicit or implicit data. And what I mean by that, by explicit data, it's that solid, concrete data we know about someone. It's their name, it's their title, it's their company, and that's usually based on a form fill. They've raised their hand, they filled out a conversion form, you know a little bit about them already because of what they've told you. It might be geolocation. Based upon their IP address, you know where in the country they're located, what country they're in. You might know company info based on IP if you're using something like demand-based that gives you a ton of company information just based upon their IP address when they're browsing to your website. If they're already a contact, you know a lot about them based upon what emails they've opened, what links they've clicked. You know lots of information about them. You can take that information, segment them into different groups, and start to personalize the experience based upon that. Implicit data is a little bit more complicated, but is also almost as valuable. Implicit data is the insights we have about someone based upon their behaviors. What content did they download? What pages did they engage with? what searches do they perform to get to your site or within your site itself, which case studies they look at, do they linger on. If someone's on your website and they're looking at a bunch of healthcare case studies, you can start to assume that they're a healthcare consumer, and you can start to personalize the experience based upon that. Once you kind of have that strategy and have the content to support it, most of the content management systems we work with, like you see up here, have fairly intuitive interfaces for building up rules regarding when certain pieces of content should be delivered based upon the information we know about that person. When selecting your platform or for your website, you need to keep in mind what your goals for the site are. You can build a beautiful site with all the best graphics in the world, but you got to keep in mind you have a business and you have goals. Whether that be to drive conversions in the form of leads collected on the website, is it e-commerce and product sales? Is it membership signups? Maybe you're a membership-based business and it's all driven by the web, or maybe it's just brand awareness and engagement. Whatever your goals are, you need to make sure you select a system that allows you to register and set up those goals in the system, and then do reporting on them. And then ideally, you can also do A/B testing. So when you're not meeting your goals, you can try out different things to see what can kind of move those metrics. So.
Let's now take a look at the strategy cornerstones of Lead to Loyal.
The Lead to Loyal approach allows businesses to navigate and optimize the customer experience better than ever before. By understanding each individual customer interaction, SilverTech drives engagement with integrated business intelligence to enhance both customer-facing and internal user experiences.
Some of the strategy cornerstones of Lead to Loyal are personas, customer journey strategy, and technology roadmaps. This is not an exhaustive list, there's certainly more, but these are the main cornerstones to ensure that the user experience is optimized and remains so across all digital channels.
Let's quickly review each cornerstone. Personas. Since there are a number of customer groups, or personas, interacting with an organization, each with their own set of user requirements, it is essential to understand who these personas are. The creation of well-thought-out personas will help you identify the problems you are hoping to solve for your customers.
A customer journey strategy enables you to map your customer's journey to create appropriate click paths, provide strategy and workflow for both internal and external audiences, and develop interactive prototypes for iterative user testing and validation, all to create a seamless experience to the end user. A customer journey strategy is critical to creating an optimized user experience, one that removes barriers and heightens usability.
In order to leverage technology to support and scale customer and partner success teams, it is critical that organizations use a technology roadmap. This document is adaptable and intended to act as a roadmap for planning, executing, and measuring customer service and digital marketing projects. All successful roadmaps contain the following: goals, milestones, gaps and barriers, action items, and priorities and timelines.
Using personas, marketers can tailor the site to speak to individual customers as they make their own journeys through the buying cycle. Forrester refers to this as contextualization, which is a tailored, adaptive, and sometimes predictive digital customer experience. Let's hear from SilverTech software engineer Gina McIntyre and our principal strategist Samantha Maltus on how they use personas.
I think personas are important for me as a developer because I think everyone has a unique way of thinking about something, and everyone approaches a problem differently. So personas help me develop a site that is not just a site that I would use, but maybe a site that other people would use too. So one of my favorite features of Keniko is content personalization. So you really have the ability to personalize any piece of content at any part in your site, any place in the template, based on rules you define that can be based off personas. It can be based off where the user is in the world, lots of different stuff. So.
A really awesome thing that we humans have is actually the ability to empathize with things and with people. And so personas actually allow us to step into the mindset of someone who we're taking a character on. It's how we're actually able to act and things like that. So once we set out a persona, say it be a 35-year-old mother of two, we can actually assume things about her just based on generic stereotypes and things like that, but actually assume that character, and it helps us when we're actually creating those features.
The value of personas is clear. A persona-based website saw a 210% increase in website traffic a 97% increase in website-generated leads, and a 124% increase in website-generated sales.
As we mentioned earlier, a customer journey strategy is critical to creating an optimized user experience, UX, one that removes barriers and heightens usability. Let's check in with Pat Coyne from SilverTech's partner Thunderhead on a new concept of the customer-controlled journey. Today's customers, Pat, they expect consistent, high-value in-person and digital experiences. And as Jody Sarno from Forrester put it, the age of the customer requires a more intelligent enterprise. There's no time for business as usual. How do businesses get there? I mean, what kind of questions can they start asking themselves to stop doing business as usual?
Yeah, sure. So we actually developed the concept of customer managed journeys, really to help businesses think about how they organize themselves. It talks to the notion that when businesses think about customer journeys, they need to think about it from an outside-in point of view versus an inside-out, where we're telling them what their journey should be. They can effectively push consumers through their process or manage that journey, or indeed really map it effectively. That's really traditionally the way that most organizations have done it. They've told the customer what their journey should be.
Right.
It really means moving away from the idea that the customer journey is a controllable process to one that acknowledges that the customer is ultimately in charge of the interaction they have with the business. Mm-hmm. By understanding actual customer behavior, businesses will gain what's really important, customer journey insight, which will help them then take action to create conversations that address customers' needs in context and in real time, and deliver the appropriate conversation to meet the needs across every interaction. They really need to look at and learn from the end-to-end customer journey. So that's really what the businesses should be doing there. Right. Some of the questions really that they should be thinking about or asking, what does a customer should be in control actually mean, right? So what is that? What are we looking at there? Have we organized our operations and technology around the customer?
Right.
What journey or journeys are customers on? How do customers perceive them and their control over that journey? Where are the moments of truth? Are they different based on audience type, or are they changing over time? How is customer behavior changing, and how can you watch and listen to understand that? And when do you intervene to help customers along that journey? Really, what they need to think about are asking questions that are centered really around what their customers are, who their customers are, right?
Right. The technology and strategy practices of effective marketing teams.
In our analysis of the survey responses, it quickly became clear that the effective marketing teams are those that integrate the marketing technology pillars and utilize the strategy cornerstones.
The application of the pillars and cornerstones, what we at SilverTech call the lead to loyal approach, gives marketers dramatic insight into buying habits and needs of their customers.
In the next section of this report, you will see that marketing teams that rate themselves as effective all share a higher rate of adoption of the technology pillars and a higher rate of utilization of the strategy cornerstones.
By the conclusion, it should become clear that the only valid approaches are those that integrate both technology and strategy, with an aim toward gaining a full understanding of the customer and their journey. In our survey, we had marketing teams, both large and small, identify the areas where they were effective. Let's take a look at the adoption and use of core marketing technologies, CMS, MA, and CRM, in teams that rate their website performance as effective versus those that rate their performance as ineffective.
Effective marketing teams are 1.5 times more likely to have redesigned their website or upgraded their CMS within the last year.
Respondents were asked to rate the effectiveness of their website presence towards meeting their business goals. Those that rated their performance as effective were 1.5 times more likely to utilize personas, 1.4 times more likely to utilize a customer journey strategy, and 1.2 times more likely to utilize a technology roadmap than those that rated their performance as ineffective.
Respondents were asked to rate the effectiveness of their inbound marketing toward meeting their business goals. Effective marketing teams are 1.5 times more likely to utilize a marketing automation platform.
Those that rated their performance as effective were 1.2 times more likely to utilize personas, 1.1 times more likely to utilize a customer journey strategy, and 1.2 times more likely to utilize a technology roadmap than those that rated their performance as ineffective.
Respondents were asked to rate the effectiveness of their email marketing toward meeting their business goals. Effective marketing teams are 1.4 times more likely to utilize a CRM tool.
Those that rated their performance as effective were 1.4 times more likely to utilize personas, 1.3 times more likely to utilize a customer journey strategy, and 1.7 times more likely to utilize a technology roadmap than those that rated their performance as ineffective.
Respondents were asked to rate the effectiveness of their search engine optimization toward meeting their business goals.
Those that rated their performance as effective were 1.4 times more likely to utilize personas, 1.5 times more likely to utilize a customer journey strategy, and 1.3 times more likely to utilize a technology roadmap than those that rated their performance as ineffective.
Respondents were asked to rate the effectiveness of their digital advertising toward meeting their business goals.
Those that rated their performance as effective were 1.4 times more likely to utilize personas, 1.5 times more likely to utilize a customer journey strategy, and 1.2 times more likely to utilize a technology roadmap than those that rated their performance as ineffective.
Respondents were asked to rate the effectiveness of their social media marketing toward meeting their business goals.
Those that rated their performance as effective were 1.5 times more likely to utilize personas, 1.4 times more likely to utilize a customer journey strategy, and 1.5 times more likely to utilize a technology roadmap than those that rated their performance as ineffective. Part 6. How to become a highly effective marketing team. No matter what type of business or industry you are in, you felt the enormous impact that digital technology has had on the way your customers want to conduct business, communicate with you, shop, and compare your products and services.
Highly effective marketing teams are creating valuable digital experiences for their customers using integrated technology and advanced digital strategies. Today, customers expect to use highly designed websites when interacting with businesses and organizations. Those that prioritize the user experience, UX, which evolves constantly, enjoy high engagement rates and are able to utilize their websites for what they are, lead generating and information giving platforms.
It's clear from this report that the habits of large marketing teams, due to their relative budget and resource freedom, and effective marketing teams include persona development, the use of a customer journey strategy to map user experience, and technology roadmaps to understand the necessary technology timeline.
Effective marketing teams, both large and small, are using what we at SilverTech call the lead to loyal approach.
And that concludes today's presentation. On behalf of SilverTech, I'm Ian.
And Melissa.
Thank you very much for joining us today.